Hey everybody, Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard here with Fi once again. Welcome to another episode of Raiders of the Lost Comic Movie. So, you like the X-Men movies, right?
Sure I do.
You're a big fan?
Well, I don't hate them.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You excited for the end of the era of X-Men movies with Dark Phoenix?
I didn't know there was another movie coming out.
Yeah, it's called Dark Phoenix.
I did.
Are you threatening me?
That's right.
That would be a bad idea.
Did not know that. Phoenix. It's like Spirit Fingers, though.
Well, did you know before the X-Men movies, there was another attempt at an X-Men movie called Generation X.
No, but I do now, so it was not planned.
Yeah, so we just happen to be covering that right now. Cross promotion. So, if you didn't know out there, Generation X was a made-for-TV movie that was actually a pilot, and it was supposed to build off the popular X-Men cartoon show that was happening at the time. This is about 1996. And the pilot failed, and they didn't want to make a show. But they put out the movie anyways as a made-for-TV movie in hopes of getting enough fan feedback to warrant multiple movies.
They were listening by
So it'd be like a series of X-Men made-for-TV movies based on Generation X.
Yes.
And that's where we get Generation X.
Aptly named.
So
true.
What'd you think of Generation X? First thoughts.
Actually, I didn't think that the plot was terrible. I actually thought it was actually somewhat engaging.
What was the plot?
Oh, something about dreams and like they had to stop. But they did overcome and they kind of banded together. Reclamation, redemption, a little bit of love intrigue. It had all the hallmarks, but the cinematography was very. What'd you call it?
Bad?
Yes.
It was full of Dutch angles.
That's the word.
It was the entirety of this movie is very Batman Forever feeling. Like a lot of neon lighting and Dutch angles. And yeah, that's like what they went off of, which I guess was the most recent Batman movie. So I guess you can't blame them, but...
Yeah, but, the fact that it was, as you said, standard definition, and I just said, terribly, terribly fuzzy.
Yeah.
I was like, what is that? Like, what are we doing? And then, so that was one aspect. But, overall, it wasn't terrible. It had some low points. They kept forgetting about characters for, 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah, they would just disappear.
You're like, oh, right, yeah, they're back. Who are they again? And then their villain, though... I don't know if they were going for 100% blow you away, just effing creepy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, before we get into the villain, though,
I can't talk about the villain.
do you remember all the X-Men that we got?
I don't remember names very well, but I can tell you their powers.
Okay.
All right, so we got curly-haired lady. Wait, her name was Harley.
Okay,
She was like, ugh. Bulky, but you couldn't tell. They just put a big sweater on her, so that was fine.
So Harley was made for the show, and far as I can tell, her power was just super strength, I guess.
But she never really used it. But she did shove.
Well, she shoved a guy.
She shoved a guy once, but then again, I've shoved a guy. So really, she did have
her superpower is to shove a guy.
Okay, shove a guy, Harley.
That's her superpower. That's her name too. Yeah, that's her super name is shove a guy.
Shove a guy. All right, so we got shove a guy,
Yeah.
who's not actually a guy. It's a girl. Girl with blonde curly hair. Then we had M, who I kept confusing for Emma, right? But M, who as far as I can tell was Little Miss Perfect, also just a...
Yeah.
Can I cuss?
Yeah.
She's just a bitch.
And there's the experts can tell I'm perfect. I have advanced brain functions, high density skeletal mass, superior tissue and endocrinology. I'm immune to all known viral and bacterial entities. I have level 8 invincibility, including high dynamic thermal repulsion. Yeah, well, you're sure repulsing me.
It's like, I'm perfect, you're not, by the way. Like, don't fuck with me. You're gonna lose.
So, yeah, this is one of the shows I actually saw when it first aired. And so I didn't know at the time who M was, but I have since. She's been in a lot of comics, and I really enjoy her. And they actually got her right. Like, she's a bitch. Like, that's her character in the comics, too. And M's powers in the comics is, yeah, she's perfect. She's invulnerable. She's immune to a lot of diseases. She has a telepathic ability. She's super strong, and she can fly. I give you one guess of which of those they left out of this very cheap show.
Flying?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
And, yeah, what did M do in this show?
I don't know. Oh, wait.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just going to point that out. I'm so glad you circled back around to that. As far as I can tell in the carnival scene, she showed up some guys who were, just being all up in her biz, like by punching the punching bag to her and busting it, and then playing the, like the giant whack-a-mole game with the bing, like, and she just squirted that. But other than that, I don't actually know.
She also shoved a guy.
Shove a
At
guy
the
too?
end.
Is she Little Myth Shove a Guy then? I mean, then we have Shove a Guy and Little Myth Shove a Guy.
Because, yeah, of course, at the end, they have to have, like, the big battle where they all show off their powers, and you really realize at that point how cheap the show is.
But then it was like dunk, 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 dunk.
But we'll
dunk.
get to that in a second. Okay,
Okay, I can't
so
go
we got M, and we got Shove a Guy.
Okay, we got M, we got Shove a Guy, and then there was the one from the beginning with the brown hair, and she had firework fingers.
So Jubilee.
Fire fingers.
And she has fireworks, which actually I think the effect when they used it looked pretty good.
I mean,
But
for the budget and the era. Okay,
But they use it a total of twice.
3 times? 4. Go back and count them. 4.
No, I think it's just twice. Just the beginning and the end.
Arcade.
Yeah.
2 different scenes in the arcade because when she was getting arrested.
Well, that's still the same scene, bruh.
All right, fine. So you had Firefingers missed Firefingers Jubilee, if you will.
So I gotta point out with her is Jubilee in the comics is famously Chinese.
She was not Chinese.
She's not even close. Like,
she's
not
white.
Chinese.
But yeah.
Okay. So Jubilee, yep.
So that wraps up all of the lady students, and then you have Macho Man. What did I call him before? Turn to Stone. Stone guy. Stoneface Magoo. Sorry, it's actually Stoneface Mondo.
Mondo, yeah.
Stoneface Mondo. Yep.
Yeah,
He just like touches things, and then all of a sudden he's like the consistency of the couch.
Yeah. Which I actually kind of got him right for the most part. Although in the comics he tends to kind of like look like what he absorbs a little bit. So like if he were to absorb a tree, he'd look kind of barky.
Huh. They did not do that either.
They did not do that. No, they definitely picked him because he's a cheap power to fake.
Then you had Laser Eyes.
Yeah, who's made up for the show, and he's Cyclops Light.
Yeah, he kind of. I wish I had my glasses because it would look something like this.
Yeah, he did that a total of twice as well.
Yeah.
And then he can supposedly see through stuff.
Which led to a very awkward coming of age, like, but then redemption and apologizing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, his name was Kurt, and I don't know what his super name was, but yeah, he was made up for the show.
Laser Eyes. It was Laser
Eyes. Okay.
And then
Wasn't Gazer Beam?
No.
Okay.
It was not Gazer Beam. It was Laser Eyes. And then last but not least, you had Stretchy Skin Dude, who didn't really stretch skin. He was a little bit more like what was that toy from the mid-1990s?
Stretch Armstrong?
Yep.
Yeah.
Stretch Armstrong.
Yeah, Skin, who isn't gray like he is in the comics.
So apparently, and I don't know this, but you had to show me, in the comics he looks like Gollum.
A little bit, yeah.
No, he's definitely Gollum. But he's wearing slightly more clothes. And that's not what he looked like. He did not look like that.
Yeah, and they basically just made him Mr. Fantastic in this, but really only his arms ever really stretched.
Well, that's all the CGI budget they had.
Yeah, that's all they could do.
I
mean, it's better than the Fantastic Four movie from the 90s where it looked like they just put a sleeve on a broomstick. We'll get to that movie at some point, I'm sure, but to look better than that.
God, that'll be a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
Right. So that's all the students. And then you had Miss Lingerie, and I do remember her name because they said it like a million times. Emma Frost.
Emma Frost.
Who had a fantastic job of doing this. You believe what I say. And then it was like, boom, we all believe what you say. Okay, cool.
So
but her like intense stare was interrupted by her bangs.
She had intense 90s bangs.
The bangs.
Like she put like curler style bangs. Like,
They were the big.
Whoa, bam.
The side.
Yeah, they were 90s bangs. But weird with hers, they got her again kind of right, but then at the very beginning, she was like blowing people over. But she's only a telepath.
I don't pretend to understand.
Very disappointed in this movie.
She
Should've
did
done
write
it
a
right.
book. Yeah.
She wrote a book about visiting dreams, because this whole show was about dreams. And apparently mutants can enter dreams. All mutants can. And manipulate them. But they also made a machine where you can also enter the dreams. And dreams are other dimensions.
No, it's just another dimension.
Yeah, that's right. Dreams are a gateway to a different dimension. That was like a shared dream
But you can make
dimension.
a door.
Yeah.
I was a little confused on the logistics and the mechanics of that, but
Sure.
they ran with it. They had a really interesting looking dentist chair to go with it.
Yeah. All right, you got one more person.
That was the screaming leprechaun guy.
Banshee.
Yeah,
Yes.
terrible Irish accent.
I'm gonna take me Lucky Charms.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Listen up, you harpies. Going to town is.
All right, enough, you harpies. Have it back by curfew. And remember, being lied out is a privilege that can be revoked.
Like, you ever heard Conan do his Irish accent?
I think maybe once, and yes, it sounded
It's like
suspicious
that,
when
yeah.
you say it.
Oh, because bigora.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, they have Banshee, and shocking, he didn't fly. I didn't see
Was
that
he supposed to
coming.
fly?
Banshee can fly.
Why? What about Banshee? It's like in the...
Because he can bounce sound waves off the ground in such a way that they give him lift.
Now remember, scream as hard as you can.
You need the sound waves to be supersonic. Catch them at the right angle and they should carry you.
They should carry me. That's reassuring.
Good luck.
Eric?
What?
Oh, okay, so for clarity's sake, nobody flew.
Nobody flew.
It was not... It was
But they had two technically three. No, I think just two mutants that can fly.
But it
They
was
did
out
not.
of budget.
I'm assuming way out of budget. Yes, because everything about this screamed cheap.
Except, I mean, like I said, the plot overall
Yeah.
wasn't terrible.
Well, you pointed something out kind of interesting at the beginning. The Xavier Mansion.
Yes, so it appears that it's the same freaking mansion. Like, it's
Yeah.
the same goddamn building. I
It's-
swear to God, it's the same fucking sign, because
Yeah.
I actually have watched another X-Men movie, and I was like, wait, that's the same sign. And then I was like, I'm going to think about it. And then it was like Dutch angled front hallway. And I was like, that's definitely the same one. That's the same staircase, the same wood color. Like, they just put a bunch of, like, taxidermied animals in it.
Yeah.
It was a little bit of a different flavor, but I was like, that's the same fucking place.
Yeah, and it is. It's the same mansion used in all the other X-Men movies. So theoretically, this takes place in the same universe as the other X-Men movies.
So let me ask you another question. Was it the first X-Men movie to use that mansion?
Yes, because the first X-Men movie, good, was 2000. So this predates that by 4 years.
So you mean to tell me that the X-Men franchise actually bit off this terrible fucking movie?
Apparently, wow. So this is the start of it, I guess.
Good God.
Okay, so
Can we talk
I
about the
can tell
thing?
you want to talk.
Yes,
So
I have opinions.
The most interesting part
No, memorable. I wouldn't
and
say.
memorable of this
Interesting.
movie is the villain, played by the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, I mean, as far as if villains are supposed to be, well, villainizable and vilified, root word all there, memorable and a little bit upsetting and disturbing, he fucking rocked it. Problem was, is I was a little bit more than just a little bit disturbed. At one point, I ended up like curled up with my toes, like, no, ew.
Well, he like slowly got there, so he's doing a Jim Carrey Riddler impression.
That's true.
Which again relates this back to Batman Forever.
You said the same thing about my other ideas 4 years ago, but everything I said I could do, I've done. And now you're a cha-ching millionaire.
And then, there he just gets worse and worse as he goes, and it's...
He had to a thing with, like, his tongue. It was like, stop. Yeah, it was like... I half expected him to touch his nose. He could. I can't. Hidden talents, not the point. He fucking creeped me out. Like, it was not okay. There were some quotables, which I declined to write down, but I'm not even sure we can say them on a YouTube channel.
Well, let's see. He did a ethnic slur towards Mexican.
Mm-hmm. But he did add like a pardon the, I guess, pseudo pun, cerebral, like, interesting, like, amorphous word in front of it, and then the slur. And I was like, so you guys actually wrote that shit?
He called him a dimensional slur, expletive deleted. Mm-hmm. And then he proceeded to threaten to mind rape his underage sister.
And then licked her face.
I'll jump into your dreams and give you 8 hours of hell every night. And I'll do the same to your honey-skinned girlfriend. And if that doesn't work, how about I mind rape this sweet little sister of yours?
Please, don't hurt her.
And we literally were like, oh my god, when this movie is going to be over? And then we were like, wait, what?
Yeah. So we initially rewound it because, like, did he just say
Did he just
rape?
try to mind rape that person?
And then we rewound it too much, and then we caught the ethnic slur, which went right past us the first time.
And then we're like, what?
Wait, what?
And then we get through the mind raping part, and then we have to rewind it one more time because I'm like, did you see her, like, him lick her face? Oh my god.
It's bad. I mean,
So
I'm going to show it a
times.
bunch of times.
We had to be like, each time it was just more disturbing than the last.
He is very off-putting as a villain, and not in like a fun, I hate this guy way, but in like a...
No, you don't feel any camaraderie in hating this guy.
Like,
you just want to, like, curl your toes and go...
Like, yeah, he is like on a list somewhere creepy.
I mean, props to the actor. That's what they wrote, and he got paid for it. I mean, he stole the show. Everybody else was like, who did what now? I mean, there was lingerie lady. Okay, fine. She looks good in lingerie. Great, got that. And then you're like, was that the guy with the... Oh, no. Like...
Yeah, no, he
carried the movie, unfortunately, in a very terrible, terrible, bad way.
Terrible way. Yeah, he was Jim Carrey's Riddler mixed with a pedophile that's proud of it. That's the best way to explain that villain. Mm-hmm. And his whole plan, like, initially, he was, like, putting messages in people's dreams to make you buy things. So, like that one episode of Futurama with the Lightspeed briefs.
Young man, I think it's time you learned a lesson about Lightspeed brand briefs.
Lightspeed fits today's active lifestyle, whether you're on the job or having fun. Lightspeed briefs, style and comfort for the discriminating crotch.
Oh, what a weird dream. I'll never get back to sleep.
Anyways, and then, like, yeah, he decided he's gonna be an omnipotent god because he can take over dreams.
But he did reveal his true motivational factor, which is that he wanted to get revenge on Emma Frost.
Yeah.
He did call her something, something, something slut.
A psycho slut, I believe.
In other words, I won't be happy until the psycho slut who humiliated me grovels at my feet and anoints me as her god.
And then he went.
Slut?
And then he went.
Sun slut.
That makes sense, right? And we're all like, I mean, let's just deviate here. Actor, good. Character.
Yeah, it's problematic. A lot of this movie actually is very problematic because, yeah, they have the townies using a word you're not supposed to use anymore.
I don't remember what that word was, but you might have to tell me off screen because I don't remember what it was. I mean, there were all levels of bad.
But
there are
also,
people licking people's face, underage people's faces.
Also, though, they somehow snuck in, because this is on network TV, this is on Fox. They dropped an F-bomb.
Yeah.
Are you fucking nuts? That was the scariest thing I have ever felt in my entire life. I cosmically shit my fucking pants.
I don't know how they did it.
What was the
or
exact
where
quote?
I got
it
this
makes
version.
me want to shit my fucking pants. That's what it said.
Yeah, no,
And we went, huh?
Yeah, I shit my fucking pants. And you're like, wait, what?
Did you think nobody was going to watch this? And that's why you put it in there?
Maybe. I mean, I watched it as a little kid. And maybe I shouldn't, because this is horrible. This is a very disturbing movie, but not in a fun way at all.
That's the thing. The entire movie was not memorable, except for how creepy he was. I mean, props to the actor for giving me the heebie-jeebies. Like,
but yeah,
I feel like... Ugh.
Well, then most of the movie, about 90% of it, revolved around Skin, Jubilee, and the creepy guy. Everyone kind of fucked off for long periods of time.
And then you're like, oh, right.
Oh, that guy's in here, too. Like, they did not know what to do with these people.
Nope.
Like, no one knew how to write for a cast that big or something at the time.
Who knows?
I mean, they definitely can now. Because, like, The Gifted is the good version of this.
What's The Gifted?
It's an X-Men TV show that was just recently canceled, but it's very good. Just watch The Gifted.
Apparently people should tweet at me about that too.
Yeah.
Mostly because I'll forget. So if you guys could make me a list, that'd be great. And then I could just, like check mark,
Check mark?
Shut up. Yeah.
So Emma tells the kids about the dream possibility that the mutants can have, and Skin and Jubilee discover she built this machine that lets them surf through dreams.
It's a wackadoodle dentist chair.
Yeah. And which there's other problematic stuff with that, but we'll get there in a second.
Is it because it looks almost identical to a dentist chair?
No, it's because Skin is technically forcing himself on a woman in the.
There was a lot of inappropriate innuendos in this movie.
Because I mean, is it?
It just made me feel uncomfortable. When it wasn't boring me half to death, I was feeling very uncomfortable. Like, that was the movie to me.
Like, is it consent if you can go into someone's dream and
nope,
make
I'm
them
not entirely sure it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't think that we've actually provisioned a law for that yet because we haven't quite figured out how to do that for dreams. But I'm not exactly sure that makes it any different than, like, under guided care or hypnosis. Like, it's kind of the same shit.
But anyway, so they discover this machine and they run into the dream guy.
The creepy dude.
And he's like, oh, they're mutants, and apparently he can take out their mutant gene and inject it into him to become a mutant.
He wants to, cut open their brains to get to the pineal gland.
Yeah. So he kidnaps Skin and wants to do brain surgery on him.
He doesn't kidnap him. He forces him to go find his body in real life by threatening to mind rape his sister, of which he does. Then he wakes up, he acts weird, and then he pins him against the wall and kidnaps him.
So you remember the movie?
I was very unengaged.
And then, so they figure out where Skin is, and that's where the big battle takes place. They go to this, big
battle.
Yeah.
Literally, that's why, they didn't show their powers at all, because it was like, bink, whop. And I wasn't even watching. I was seriously texting during the big battle. Like, that's how unengaged I was. And then I was like, oh, and then it literally, kind of comes to a head with Banshee being like, it's easy to beat up on kids, because it was like, dink.
Well,
they were just done.
That's the funny part of it, was literally one at a time. Like, here's my power. And then you really, again, like I mentioned before, it really shows off how cheap the show is, because 2/3 of the students, or at least half the students, they're just strong.
Bink, bink, bink,
so it's just shove a guy, and then he shoves them.
No, shove a guy is a person. There was shove a guy, then Miss shove a guy, and then there was guy shoving guy.
Yeah, the only two that had any real powers are Jubilee, or the effect needed powers is Jubilee, and then Laser Eyes, who just knocked down a pipe instead of just shooting him with the eyes.
Like I said, I was texting. I did
and
not
then
see that.
they make Em look like a bitch, and
because she is a bitch.
No,
okay,
she's
fine.
super strong and perfect.
She's super strong.
And
she's super pretty.
Guy,
she's super perfect. She's everything. Don't fuck with her.
And there's the experts can tell I'm perfect. I have advanced brain functions, high-density skeletal mass, superior tissue, and endocrinology. I'm immune to all known viral and bacterial entities. I have level 8 invincibility, including high dynamic thermal repulsion.
Yeah, well, you're sure repulsing me.
Yeah.
That should be her name, like M, and then like that's like her moniker at the bottom.
Actually, do you want to know her full name? Because it's actually kind of ridiculous.
Okay, fine.
M's full name: Monet Yvette Clarice Maria Therese St. Croix.
So she's French then,
Well, she's of Middle Eastern descent.
but most of her names are French.
This is true. Anything else you want to bring up? Is this? I'm trying to think. Because yeah, it's generally kind of bland.
I don't actually remember. I have cataloged it in that memory store of like bland events that I can recall at will, but I don't recall being impassioned about anything other than that guy is creepy. Why the hell is he looking in an underage person's face?
Yeah, and they definitely like picked mutants to where their powers would be cheap. Except Jubilee, but she was popular on the TV show, so that's why they used her. The cartoon.
Hi again. I'm not exactly sure about the mechanics of this dream bullshit. Now Mondo was kind of funny sometimes when he was talking about his guns.
You know, he had that really cool scene where he talked about eating Jello.
Yeah, well, he better. Because I can become as solid as anything I touch, man. Wood, rock, steel, it's all good.
What happens when you eat Jello, ese?
Man, you know I don't like Jello.
I know you don't like Jello. It was very funny.
I'm still big.
You're huge.
Yeah, I know.
He was pretty. There's some funny parts. I
mean, the actors weren't altogether
Yeah.
terrible. Normally, you would expect to see with one of these, you know, B-rate films that the acting is really where it's terrible. But it all in all, the acting really wasn't.
No, it worked well, and honestly,
But
really,
whoever filmed it was shit.
Yeah, no, that was bad. But actually, I got to bring it up though, is because the clothing actually was pretty nice until the end, where they show what their uniform's gonna be, and it's fucking terrible.
It wasn't bad except for the fucking shoulder pads. I was like, you don't need the shoulder pad. You're a hulking big girl like that. That's a shove a guy.
So my story with this is I did watch it when I was a kid, and I was super excited, and I loved it because superheroes.
Yeah, who doesn't?
And I was very excited for the next episode of it because of the way they end it. It's definitely like we're gonna do more. And
next month or next week on blah 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 blah. Generation
it never
X.
happened.
Is it because whoever actually filmed this was
Who was the director on this?
I don't know, but they did not have enough money.
Someone should get fired. Well,
they all got fired. That's why it didn't come back.
This is true. Fair enough. But it doesn't cost any money to not shoot Dutch angles.
I know. Oh God, I know. It costs more money to shoot Dutch angles. It's so bad. Stop with the Dutch angles.
Yeah, it was. Oh God, there was.
I was dizzy. If it had been in HD, I would have been like, I can't do this. Fortunately, it was in standard, and by that I mean.
Well, again, yeah, this was never released, so I guess I'm assuming my copy, which you've been seeing throughout this, is someone recorded it off of TV.
Literally, it was giving me a headache because I was trying to focus it, like my contacts were weird, but it turns out it was just shit.
Alright, so it was directed by Jack Sholter.
Who the fuck is Jack Sholter?
I'm
sorry, Jack Sholter, if you watch this.
Directed.
I don't know anybody. Anything I know?
The Omen TV movie.
That was a movie?
Apparently.
Okay.
One episode of Tales from the Crypt.
Does he do horror a lot?
No, he did Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which is actually one of my favorite Nightmare on Elm Street. It's definitely
I don't watch horror, but
top 4 or 5.
I'm sorry.
You are all my children now.
Sorry, Jack, right?
Jack, yeah.
Sorry, Jack. I don't actually know.
But yeah, it does seem to do a bunch more horror, and this is not his forte. Outside of, you can kind of see a little bit of Freddy and how fucking creepy the bad guy was.
True dad.
So yeah.
Like, no, amp it up, lick her face, just do it. And you're like, God damn it.
More Jim Carrey.
Bring up the Jim Carrey, lick her face, do it. I'm like, ah.
Okay, so we'll wrap this up a bit. So, since this was a TV pilot, if you were a network executive, would you want to see more of this show? Or is it rightfully forgotten?
I would have said exactly what you said a second ago. It doesn't cost any extra money to not do Dutch angles. That's my professional opinion on it. Yeah, there was just something off. And truthfully, I don't think that villain could stay on TV. If that was pilot and it only mounts, I don't actually want to know where that one goes.
Okay, so you wouldn't order more episodes.
If I did, I'd say it doesn't cost any more not to do Dutch angles. Just remember that, watching you, no more Dutch angles.
So is this rightfully forgotten, or should people find this movie and watch it?
Well, no, don't go find it. Maybe somebody should do a remake of this.
There's sort of, if it ever comes out, they keep pushing it back, but there's a movie called New Mutants, and it's all young mutants, but it's like more of a horror movie rather than a superhero movie.
This movie tailored itself as a horror movie.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't do horror, and I was like, But, yeah, no, they should definitely do a remake of it. And quite frankly, maybe they should just bring back the original villain, because he gave me the creeps. Horror style, like just balls to the wall, fucking freak you out, just make your toes curl with, yeah.
The creeps, the sweeps, and the weeps?
What?
What's wrong with it? I've lost the bleeps, I've lost the sweeps, and I've lost the creeps. The what? The what? And the what? You know.
I will see.
Okay, so that was Generation X. Do you guys remember this show? Does anyone remember it besides me? Let me know in those comments below. Let me know if there's any other suggestions for this show coming up. There's a few more I'm planning to do this year. And hit that thumbs up button. It's a lot of fun and it helps me out.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
Do that.
And don't forget to tweet me a list of things I'm supposed to do.
Yes. Thanks for joining me on another episode of Raiders of the Lost Comic Movie.